All right, moving on to cornerback and noting that this Florida State defense 20th in the nation last year in points given up per game. I would think a similar effort would, with the improvement of an explosive offense, could mean big things. But Fentrell Cypress, one of the big additions at cornerback, coming in from Virginia as an all ACC corner.
Cypress, one thing after leaving the spring, had a slower start there. And, I think for him, it was getting down the defense, specifically number one. You're coming in to learn a whole new defense, but you knew the capabilities and what he was able to do at Virginia, being one of the top rated transfers in the market there. And Florida State did a really good job of grabbing him. Coach Tertan, too, utilizing him, utilizing his abilities to build relationships quickly, as we've been able to learn. Coach Sertan is able to land some serious talent and on the recruiting trail, but he was able to do this as well on the transfer portal alongside with Adam Fuller and Coach Norvell. They wanted to get him into this defense, and they needed him, I would say, because you already know what you've got with Renardo Green. I thought Renardo Green had a great season last year. A lot of people just overlooking him, but I don't think a lot of people had to talk about Renardo Green because he was in lockdown coverage. If you go back in some of the years when Ronald Darby, PJ Williams were playing in some games at the cornerback position, there would be times where we forgot that they even played a game, and there's a reason for that. They were on lockdown coverage. And so, Renardo Green, I'm looking for another season of some improvement there. He's had a great, solid camp, man. Him and Keon Coleman, iron sharpens iron. I think of that the same way here in Tampa Bay when you've got Mike Evans going against Jamel Dean or Carlton Davis. You just make each other better. And that's something that Renardo Green, he's going to take on your top talent, your starters throughout the entire practice. We're not going to go for some of the younger guys. We're going to go against the guys that are certified nasty. And Keon Coleman, like we talked about in our wide receiver room, he's nasty. And Renardo and them have been going at alongside too with Johnny Wilson, which is a great way to get better going against that talent. And then, Renardo Green, Fentrell Cypress, you're going to see a lot of Azrae Thomas as well, who has made tons and tons and tons of flashes since really arriving in Tallahassee. He got off the jump immediately over Sam McCall, who also came with him during that class, a former 5-star. But we're going to see a lot of Azrae in this upcoming season. And, you're also going to see in the nickel around that area too, Greedy Vance, who super stoked to see him. Hard worker, has turned into a leader on this defense as well in that secondary. Puts himself in good positions, led Florida State in interceptions last year. So that room as a whole, added on with Jarian Jones too, who people have some fits here and there about. I think that's just one player they like to gripe about in the secondary if a play goes wrong. But he always takes the blame on it. But Jarian has always shown nice plays and has performed well and in practices. And I thought, had some stellar games in 2022. And there's no reason to overlook that as well. So you've got some added experience. You've got guys that have been in Adam Fuller's arsenal and this defense for a while in the system. And things should be fine right where they're at. And there's some youngsters, too, that we'll talk about in the safety room that are going to have to play a role this upcoming season as well.
Yeah, and if I remember right, Renardo Green was never too shy about laying the wood on somebody.
No, we learned that in New Orleans against LSU right off the bat. Not the biggest guy, but he will pick you up and take you down. But yeah, a lot of physicality. That's just how you kind of get reminded. That's how Florida State, that's how it's supposed to be. And you go back to the days of Greg Reed, man. Those were just lethal bullets coming at you like a LaMarcus Joyner. Just a heat-seeking missile right for your hip. And that's a great tackle. He's a really good tackler in space, too. So nobody should be overlooking Renardo Green. They should be highly appreciative of what he was able to do last year. And the amount of, Florida State, we're facing a good amount of talent. That's one thing about this defense. Florida State and Adam Fuller, I thought, did a really good job last year of suffocating the playmakers on offense that they were going against. And they specifically had a good job of resisting those players that make big plays. And, sometimes I would allow for other things to happen, but, you got to pick one. If you're going to rely on the quarterback to have to throw, but your playmaker, his go-to wide receiver is not on check, then, you have a better risk, or it's just all up to the coach on what they want to do. But I thought Renardo Green, whenever he was having to go against wide receiver ones and the opponents there, he showed up and played out. I'm interested to see too how Fintrell Cypress is doing this, how he's able to go against some of the competition. And then we're going to find out week one, LSU is always going to have wide receivers. They're always going to have talented wide receivers no matter what. And Florida State, for the most part, majority of that game, we're locked down in that secondary. So we're going to find out about this secondary in first week in Orlando.
Absolutely. LSU definitely has a top 5 to 10 group of wide receivers coming back this year. You mentioned the big loss with Jamie Robinson. He had 99 tackles last year. I know that in the past you've been high on Akeem Dent. He's got a lot of experience at this point, 18 starts, 92 career tackles. Talk some safety for us.
Yeah, it's going to be led with the most experience with Akeem Dent, and there's been hit or misses for him throughout his career. And one thing that has been a miss is really staying healthy. And can he stay healthy for an entire season is going to be vital for that secondary, just because of the experience he brings in the system with Adam Fuller. You got a first year coach with Coach Surtain. Just looking at the first fall camp practice, there's going to be a lot of youngins stepping up and playing in this season. I think they're going to have to come in and rotate a little bit because after Shyheim Brown, who I'm stupid excited for, he shed off some pounds too. I think you're going to see an even faster Shyheim Brown. I think everybody remembers whenever Florida State was facing UF and Doak last year, and Shyheim Brown was able to go across middle field all the way to the left sideline and was able to make the deflection on an Anthony Richardson throw, which would have been a big time game changer for Florida. And, he deflected that. Shyheim Brown knows how to make plays. He looks the part. This kid is beautiful. He's beautifully gifted in what he's able to do on the field, his body type. He's turned into a leader too already. He's a vocal guy. And I think he's got a good amount of experience to take him that next step, because he's going to be an expected starter week one. But, he's also a big playmaker in special teams as well as blocking that kick against LSU. But, there's going to have to be some guys that step up here. Kevin Knowles is moving over kind of from the nickel side, cornerback, moving nickel. Now he's over here at safety. I'm interested to see how that transition goes for him, but I've been hearing some good things out of camp from him. It's not too crazy of a change. They're just being in the system for so long with what Adam Fuller likes to do in that secondary. But Knowles is going to be expected to partake in that rotation in the safety room. And then I think you're going to have some youngsters come in and play a role like a KJ Kirkland, Quindarius Jones, and Edwin Joseph. Those three I'm keeping an eye on. Also Baker, who transferred over later during this offseason. So Ashland Baker, it's made me feel a lot better just of what I'm hearing from camp and then what I saw firsthand when Edwin Joseph was making some serious plays. Just knowing that these freshmen have done a really good job in the film room, Mark. They've done a really good job of understanding the system, and it seems like they've already been in practice for over 3 weeks. It felt like those guys were in tight coverage, and those were just true freshmen. So, I feel better about the safety room, but it's by far the biggest question mark going into this season, probably overall, offensively, defensively. Offense, you've got everything set there. You're fine, but defensively, that safety room is going to be something to watch and monitor if there are some health situations and injuries that go down, with your starters. There's going to have to be some young guys that have to step up, and some guys that don't have a lot of experience playing on the college level, which could be a little concerning, but we'll see. Knock on wood, they don't have to worry about that. But the only thing is, Akeem Dent, like I was saying earlier, has dealt with injuries. I can't remember, having him fully healthy for a season. It's just, had the flashes his freshman season. It just, if he can stay healthy, that's going to play a huge part in making sure Florida State doesn't allow these explosive plays, which they did a really good job of last year, Mark. They did a good job of not allowing that. Being one of the best teams in the country of doing that. But, we'll see. But I think it's going to really be highlighted this upcoming season with Shyheim Brown. I'm expecting him to be a potential star in this defense and be a potential star as a career here in Tallahassee.
Folks, we go live every Wednesday at 6 Eastern Time on our Florida State channel. Then you follow that up with Logan and the Noel Game Day crew right on Noel Game Day right here on YouTube. They go live every Wednesday at 7 Eastern. So a big Florida State doubleheader live for you each and every Wednesday night. Well, of course, the big story of 2022 from a special team standpoint was Ryan Fitzgerald. He did finish strong, hitting 8 of 11.
Biggest question mark for special teams is going to be at the punt return. Micah Pittman came in from Oregon and came in, transferred, and he was really reliable at punt return. That's something Mike Norvell wants to have in his special teams: reliability and consistency. And Micah Pittman did that last year. Now you're fielding out quite a few of different players back there. You've got Destin Hill, who's a true freshman, who's making getting some chances there as well. You've got Keon Coleman, the Michigan State transfer that we're continuously keeping an eye on to see how Florida State's going to use him offensively in a whole variety of different ways. And then there's a few others too, like Vondravius Jacobs, who has gotten some chances back there as well. It's really just going to come down to who is able to stay reliable back there the most. And, we'll see. And I think this one's all up for grabs. Ja'Kai Douglas has also gotten some work back there as well. But we'll have to see. And then you go over to kick return. I really want to see Deuce Spann take that next step back there because I think he has a ton of great speed, along with if you could add Destin Hill or you could add Keon Coleman. There's a lot of utilizations that they could use with those players back there. CJ Campbell as well. So Florida State's got some question marks there. And then, the kicker competition between Fitzgerald and Keltner right now, they're performing really nicely, and it's creating a good competition between those two. The inconsistencies last year with Ryan Fitzgerald is something that it was a concern, and they brought in Keltner. I don't know if that was specifically to put, Fitzgerald into a kicking competition, but I definitely think it has raised a better play out of Fitzgerald. And I think too, competition is competition. Keltner had a little bit of a struggle in the spring. Fitzgerald had a better spring overall, but it wasn't crazy significantly different. We got to continue to see a good competition coming out of this camp because they need to have reliability on just getting some points up, man, and not missing out on these potential, game winners or, just putting yourself ahead in the fourth quarter. They got to have someone step up here. So other than that's really my biggest things, keeping an eye on throughout the rest of camp on this special teams.
That's the breakdown, folks. We always appreciate Logan get together with us each and every spring to highlight the team and get ready for spring camp. Then we do the same thing every summer. So Logan's been here for us, breaking down the offense and the defense, and you got to join him and the rest of the staff there at Noel Game Day on a regular basis, but specifically on Wednesday night, 7 Eastern, right here on YouTube. Logan, good stuff. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark, for having me. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to this upcoming season. It's going to be a fun one. Super amped about going to a lot of these games and traveling to them. So we'll see if Florida State's able to reach Charlotte this upcoming season and maybe a potential playoff. Getting all these projections everywhere. I'm interested to see yours, though, Mark, whenever it drops. Be keeping a close eye on that one. So we'll see. But big season ahead for Mike Norvell and company. Will they make a run? We'll see.
Yep, got to make the final call on that one. We'll do that here soon. Time's running out. So appreciate it, Logan.
Absolutely.